Going on, everybody? Good old JM here with you on this Throwback Thursday as we present yet another out of the archives right here on the Casa D18 Studios. JJ, I know, has been working tirelessly to comb through everything on the NoDQ channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, on his own Casa D18 Studios, on the J. Hebert 95 Studios, the Simple Man brand, to present to you something that you may not have seen before, something that you haven't seen in a long time, perhaps. I know I'm looking forward to what the Renegade has in store, and I hope you are too. Kick your feet up, enjoy a little respite from the craziness of a Thursday, and enjoy this classic content right here on the Casa D18 Studios.
Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Welcome everyone to episode number 2 of Talk Wrestling here with Jeff Meacham. We're here in the backyard of Casa D18, and thank you so much to all of you who made the first episode a hit. So we've got like 3,000 views or something on YouTube, and we've got questions aplenty for the latest show, and we thank you all very much for that. And let's just get right into it. Alright, this is the first one from my Yahoo page. Thank you for emailing me on Yahoo. Drew808. Who do you think is the most marketable up-and-coming star in WWE and why? Mr. Kennedy, by far. And he's not really up-and-coming anymore. He's a main eventer now. Mr. Kennedy's their most marketable guy that they haven't given a world title run yet. So Mr. Kennedy's the guy. He's going to be the future of the company, by far. Once Cena... if Cena loses to anybody, if he hasn't lost it already, he'll lose it to Mr. Kennedy, I think. I really do. I think that, these flies are pissing me off. What do you guys think? I think that Mr. Kennedy's going to be the guy of the future, by far. Alright, here we go. The questions from my MySpace page. I got a shitload of questions, so thank you all for sending them in. The first one comes from Brandon Johnson. He wants to know how the person knowing of Chris Benoit's death, or Nancy Benoit's death, 14 hours before the police found her body, how that's being dismissed as a common lucky timing guess. It's not. The guy's computer was seized. He may be in trouble with the law. I've heard that there's going to maybe be some actions taken against him, so he's not being dismissed at all. I mean, he said it was a coincidence that, Nancy really was dead, and he was just guessing at it, but, I've heard there's going to be some legal action taken against him, so he's not being dismissed just yet. Don't worry about that. He'll be in trouble. It's very funny that it came from Stamford, Connecticut. I don't know how that ties in, but we'll have to see. Alright, this one's from Greg Prowse. I wanted to get your opinion on TNA. What do you think about their booking and not being able to get a lot of guys over as definite heels and baby faces? And also, a quick word on the six-sided ring. I think it looks stupid, and the novelty factor for me wore off a long time ago. I can't remember the last time they worked in a traditional ring. Well, the six-sided ring thing is a novelty, but I like a six-sided ring. I think we had a really cool thing going in Adrenaline when we had that one show that I worked at. And I think the six-sided ring's a good idea. I think it livens things up a little bit. It's different, which is different from most wrestling companies out there in the United States, Canada, and the world. I think it's cool. I personally like the six-sided ring, my opinion. As far as the booking goes with the heels and baby faces, yeah, it seems like they can't make their mind on Kurt Angle. They finally got him over as a heel, finally. Samoa Joe's kind of a tweener right now, sitting there and headbutting Kurt Angle on Impact the other night after he was going to be a sportsman. And Team 3D are heels now. What the hell's up with that? Team 3D are baby faces. Why are they turning them heel? No, tear. I'm sad. And the Steiner brothers, are they going to be baby faces? Are they going to be heels? What's going on with that? I mean, Scott Steiner is one of the biggest jerks in the company. He's supposed to be a heel, and they're pushing them as baby faces because Team 3D are heels. So it's very interesting. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think they should have definitive, good guys and bad guys, heels and baby faces, or baby faces and heels, as I said it. I think they need to change the booking strategy. By far, I agree with you, Greg. Good question. Alright, we got a couple questions from Jeffrey I'm going to answer. One we're going to answer right now, we'll answer the other one later on in the show. First one is, Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero had some great matches for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. He even once won the championship on a main event of SmackDown for Rey Mysterio. Do you think they should main event now on SmackDown? Do you think they could? I think they could have a great main event match on SmackDown for the Cruiserweight Championship. I think it's a ready-built feud. Chavo's the one that put Rey on the shelf, so to speak, with that knee injury. We were there live for that, actually. Myself and Jade, my brother, were there to see that injury go down, where Rey was hanging upside down from the trellis, and Chavo just beat the hell out of him. So it's a ready-made feud, and I think Rey Mysterio coming back, wanting to do that storyline again, I think is a great idea. I think he could definitely main event on SmackDown with Chavo. It'd be a great Cruiserweight title match, and hopefully he'll do it. Jeffrey, we'll get you the other question a little bit later, okay? This is from Chris Combs. Wasn't that an announcer in WCW at one point, or was it Chris Cage? I don't know. Anyway, do you think WWE will ever bring back Paul Heyman to run ECW and maybe try to make it a success? No. Paul Heyman is not going to come back, unfortunately. I mentioned this in the last show. That's what they need to do to bring him back and make it a success, but they won't do it. Paul Heyman's been sent home for a reason. Vince McMahon didn't like the direction ECW was going, and he blamed Paul for it. And I think that was wrong of him because it was very much in WWE's direction, not Paul E's direction. So, but they won't bring him back ever. Chris has another question. Is WWE making the mistake by acting as if Chris Benoit never existed? Yes. I think taking him out of the history books is a mistake. He was world champion, he was Intercontinental champion, he was world tag team champion, WWE tag team champion. I don't think they should just completely delete him from history. I think they should acknowledge the fact that he was around, but they should definitely not acknowledge him on television. WWE.com and television are two different things, and I think they're making a mistake by taking him off WWE.com. Greg Cherry, the Pennsylvanian sensation himself. He wants to know, what do you think the problems are in TNA that so many wrestlers are asking for their release? Conan, Ron Killings, and reportedly half a dozen other talent. I don't really know what the problem is in TNA, Greg, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I don't really see a problem with TNA. I think their schedule's lighter. I think they have more days off. I would think people would be happy with TNA, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not really sure if... I'm not really sure. I mean, Conan's problem was the fact that he was injured, and Ron Killings' problem was the fact that he was injured and he wasn't getting paid or whatever it was. And, guys have a problem with not getting paid. That's what wrestlers are in this to do. They're in there to make money, and they're not making the right money, or Conan wasn't making money, or Conan was hurt and wasn't making money. So, that's their problem. I think the overall problem with TNA right now is just, there's just lack of TV time and lack of talent being used properly, but I don't think that there's a really big problem as far as why everybody's leaving. They just need to work on utilizing their talent better, in my opinion. Alright, this next one comes from Mackie, and he wants to know, with the rumors of Ric Flair's retirement match coming up in the next year, my question is, who do you think Ric Flair's final match should be with, and who do you think it will be with? I think it should be with a guy like Triple H, a guy like Randy Orton, possibly somebody he's never even faced before, or like a Mr. Kennedy, or just somebody that would really give him a really good send-off. Who do I think it will be with? Probably Triple H or Randy Orton, because or maybe even Batista. That could be a possibility too. But I don't think they'll give Flair a really bad send-off. I think Flair will get the proper send-off that he deserves. He's the legend. He's the greatest wrestler of all time, by far. And I think he'll get a proper send-off by WWE. WWE respects the hell out of his accomplishments, respects the hell out of him. So hopefully whoever they pick to be his final match, or whoever Flair picks to be his final match, will be a good pick. Alright, our next question comes from Muerto Como La Noche. He said, do you think Randy Orton would be the best choice to be the next WWE champion, or would you think another wrestler is more deserving? For example, Mr. Kennedy. I think Kennedy's definitely a deserving WWE champion. I think he would be a great WWE champion. He's been ready for a long time, believe it or not. I mean, he's only been in WWE for a couple years now, but he's been ready. The guy is a stud. The guy knows what he's doing on the mic. The guy knows what he's doing in the ring. He's a great athlete. I think he's ready. Orton, I think also, believe it or not, I think that Randy Orton is ready for another world title run. I think he'd be a great heel WWE champion. Somebody's got to take Cena down eventually. Somebody's got to beat Cena for the title eventually. It's going to happen. And if he goes off to make another movie like is rumored, then he's going to need to have the title off him for a little while. So hopefully somebody will do it, that will be over. Hopefully. We'll see. Alright, this is from a few different people, so I'm just going to throw it out there. What are my thoughts on the Great Khali being the world champion, and do you think it was a good idea? No, I don't think it was a good idea at all. I think that they could have picked a few different people to be the Great Khali's, Edge's replacement as world champion, and I think Edge being injured sucks. There was a question in there somewhere down here about the curse of the world championship that WWE.com brought up. Seems to be that way, doesn't it? Batista got hurt, Mysterio got hurt, Angle got hurt, Undertaker got hurt, and now Edge. I think that the Great Khali does not deserve to be world champion. He's been on all three brands of the company with very marginal success. Save for his feud, The Undertaker, he was pretty successful in that. But he's been beaten. He got beat by John Cena twice. It was a fluke the first time, but it happened. And it was very much like Umaga. Umaga was an unstoppable monster, and then Cena beat him, and it was like, oh, we can beat him, cool. And then Lashley beat him at WrestleMania. I think the Great Khali's time is over. I think he should very happily settle into retirement, honestly. I don't think Great Khali should have been world champion, and that was a mistake by WWE booking. Alright, back to Jeffrey's other question from earlier. WWE should bring a title back. They should unify the World Heavyweight and WWE Championship and the World Tag Team with the WWE Tag Team Championship. Then they should bring back the European Championship. What do you think? No, they don't need any more championships. They've got a great balance right now on SmackDown and Raw and ECW of a world title on each brand, a tag title on each brand, a secondary title on each hand, and an exclusive title. Women's on Raw, Cruiserweight on SmackDown. I don't think they need any more championships in WWE. They don't need to unify anything like they had back when the brand extension first started. I think they've got a great story going right now. I think they've got a great idea right now as far as the championships. Leave it the way it is, perfectly honest with you. Alright, this is from Emmanuel. Between Chris Jericho and Mr. Kennedy, who do you believe has the better mic skills? Both seem rather intelligent individuals, but what are your thoughts on this? That's a really good question. Thank you, Emmanuel. Jericho in his day was one of the best talkers I ever saw. He was right up there with The Rock and Austin and Hogan and all those guys. I think Kennedy, for his day, is also a great talker. If you want to compare them, I honestly think that Kennedy is not quite up to Jericho's level yet. I really believe that. I think Kennedy is right on the cusp of reaching Jericho's level, but he's not quite there yet. Jericho was one of the best talkers the business ever saw, and he cut some of the best promos I've ever seen. I think Kennedy, with a few more months experience, maybe even a year or so experience, will be right up there with Chris Jericho. This is from Mike. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on Rey Mysterio being on drugs? I think that the media is blowing that way out of proportion, I think. Yes, he's allegedly seen Dr. Aston, but I don't think it's going to come, I don't think anything's going to come of it. I think that Rey Mysterio definitely bulked up in the last few years, but I don't think he's on steroids, or if he is, he'll be drug tested and he'll fail the drug test. It's as simple as that. I don't think that, damn flies are everywhere out here in this damn backyard, I'm telling you. I don't think that Rey Mysterio seeing Dr. Aston will be anything major. I think they'll dismiss it, honestly. They're headhunting Dr. Aston. They're really going after this guy, and rightfully so, but I don't think Mysterio will be implicated for anything. I think that he'll be fine. Alright, this is from a different Mike. It seems to me that TNA is holding in a lot of the talent that has been there pre-Spike TV days, and in some cases even deep pushing pretty much anyone that's considered X Division, for example, Petey Williams. That seems to be the case, because his other part of his question is, do you think that Joe versus Angle is getting old? Yes, I do. And this winner-take-all match is stupid. Very much so. The tag team title should be defended by a tag team, not by Samoa Joe only. And Kurt Angle is not, I repeat, not the IWGP champion. He's the champion of Antonio Inoki's new company, the IGF. The IWGP Championship was stripped from Brock Lesnar back in October of last year. They just happen to have a belt that says IWGP on it, but he's not the IWGP champion. I think that Joe versus Angle is done. I think they should let it go. I think that having a winner-take-all match is silly. If it was for the World title versus the X Division title, maybe I'd buy it. But since it's for the tag team titles and the IGF title, it's too much. It's too old and it's too much. And I think that Angle versus Joe's time is done. They need to build new feuds, and they need to start pushing some of these guys, like a Petey Williams, like a Shark Boy, like, those guys that have been there since the glory days, or since the early days of TNA. They haven't really had glory days yet. But since the early days, that haven't been deep pushed lately. So I think Joe versus Angle's time is done. Once Hard Justice is over, hopefully they'll move on from that feud. Alright, this question comes from Anthony on my MySpace. He wants to know what my take is on the whole Vince thing. I mean, he screwed up so bad. He screwed up the explosion thing after coming back on TV, saying it was all fake, and then he disappeared again. I think Vince had to come back on TV after the whole Benoit thing went down. I think it was a necessary thing for Vince McMahon to do, to appear on TV and saying, yes, my character Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon, passed away, but I'm really alive, and unfortunately one of our own has passed away. I think if they really wanted to, they could have gotten away with having the storyline continue the week after the Benoit tragedy and just go with it, but they decided not to, and they decided to move on. Which is really unfortunate, because a lot of people were getting into the death of Mr. McMahon's storyline, and people were actually watching wrestling again. For those people that weren't watching, they were actually watching again. And now they're not again, apparently, from what I've understood. But I don't think he screwed up. I think it was necessary for him to come back on TV and, explain the situation and deal with the Benoit tragedy. So it wasn't a mistake, it was necessary. Alright, the next one's from Dan D. Do you think WWE and TNA should have an off-season like the NFL, NBA, and so on? That's a really good question. That's been brought up numerous times in the various media outlets. I I don't know if an off-season would work with WWE or TNA or with the wrestling business because they've been a year-long business for so long. I think that if a guy really needs that much time off, he can just take the time off. I mean, WWE's made it very clear. If you need to take a break, you can take a break. Benoit himself took a break for a couple of months back in 2006. I don't think that an off-season would work for WWE, TNA. I mean, you know, guys can take their own off-season and take their own break, but I think a general off-season for the whole company would be a very, very bad idea because the fans wouldn't like it. The fans would fart on it. I really believe that. All right, Alvaro wants to know, who'd win a Falls Count Anywhere match between Samoa Joe and Randy Orton? That's an interesting question. I think that it would be pretty much, as JR would say, a slobber knocker. I think they'd both beat the hell out of each other because Randy Orton has been proven to do well in hardcore matches and Falls Count Anywhere matches and those type of matches. And Joe's a killer. We've seen Joe in TNA. We've seen Joe in Ring of Honor. I think they would pretty much put each other to the test. I really do. I think that overall Joe's size and his strength would overcome Randy Orton. And I think these flies are getting in my way and they're bugging the crap out of me. And I think that in the end, Samoa Joe would win that match. I think that Joe's just sheer size and strength would overcome the Legend Killer, my opinion. All right, this is from Joseph Souter on my Yahoo page. Excuse me. I'm a Johnny Spade / Blaze / Nitro / Morrison fan myself, but I'm just not getting the necessity of the name change once again. Why not just change the name to John Heineken, which is actually his birth name, believe it or not? I'm sure a Rockstar type gimmick could be pulled off without a name change. Johnny Nitro was a great name in my humble opinion. Your thoughts? Yeah, I think that's really stupid. I think that if he's going to change his name, it should be to John Heineken, which is his real name. Everybody knows he won Tough Enough 3 as John Heineken. Everybody knows his name is John Heineken. I think the John Morrison thing, going like Jim Morrison, is kind of stupid. I think that Johnny could have pulled it off very well as John Heineken, or Johnny Heineken, or whatever you want to call him. But Johnny Nitro was a great name. He's been Johnny Nitro for, the better part of 2.5 years. And I think changing his name now is really stupid. I think he had a great thing going, and changing his name will be a mistake for Johnny Nitro. All right, this one's from Johnny Watts. He wants to know my opinion on Paul London. I think Paul London is a great athlete. I think Paul London's a tremendous WWE superstar. I think he hasn't been given near enough credit. I mean, yeah, he and Kendrick held the tag team titles longer than almost anybody, except for, save a few teams. I think he'd be a great Cruiserweight champion, like long-term Cruiserweight champion. He was Cruiserweight champion for a little while, but I think he'd make a great long-term champion if he was put on his own. I think he and Kendrick deserve to be World Tag Team Champions on Raw. They could have a great feud with Cade Murdoch and win the titles from them and have a good long feud. I think they'd have a great feud with a bunch of different tag teams if WWE had a good tag team roster. I think London would have a great feud on SmackDown. If they moved him back to SmackDown, he could feud with Chavo, he could feud with Jimmy Wang Yang, he could feud with Rey Mysterio, he could feud with anybody. London's a great talent, and I think he shined best in Ring of Honor, but I think he'd do a really good job in WWE if they let him have the opportunity. Alright, the last one from MySpace comes from Stan the Man. He wants to know, was Jeff Hardy better off in TNA? Are you kidding me? No. Jeff Hardy is better off in WWE where he belongs. TNA, he got a mild main event push, and then he was pushed into the mid-card like everybody else was in TNA back then, except for Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Hardy already has been Intercontinental Champion a few times. He's been World Tag Team Champion with his brother again. He has a chance to be Intercontinental Champion again soon. If he's not already. I think that Jeff Hardy's much better off in the big company with WWE. I think he's getting the better push there. TNA didn't know what to do with Jeff Hardy, and honestly, with the time that he was in TNA, Jeff Hardy was going through some problems. So I don't think he's better off in TNA whatsoever. He's much better off with World Wrestling Entertainment. All right, this is from Bill the Champ Reaper, I think is his name on MySpace. When do you think Triple H will make his return, and who do you think his next feud will be? I think they've planted the seeds for several different options. He's more likely coming back at SummerSlam, and King Booker's a definite possibility after he came out to Triple H's King of King music not too long ago. I think Mr. Kennedy would be a great option for Triple H to feud with, and there's also the ready-made feud with Randy Orton, because it was Rated RKO's match with DX that put Triple H on the shelf back in January. But whatever happens, Triple H will be back. He'll be a force to be reckoned with, and I think he'll be better off on his own for a while. No more DX, no more, coming out and doing sophomore stuff. Coming out as the game will be better for Triple H right now, and I think he'll have a feud no matter who he comes with. It'll be a great feud. Thank you very much for all of you that have watched today. Thank you very much for those of you that sent in questions. For those of you that didn't get your questions answered, stay tuned to the next show. We'll get your questions answered, I promise. If you send in more questions, we may get to them eventually. It's going to take a while, but because like I said, the show's a hit. I can't explain it either, but it happened. Oh, to somebody that asked if I sprained my wrist masturbating, no, I had tendonitis. So thank you for your idiotic question. I got it from work, believe it or not. I actually got it going across the scanning belt at Target. So I hurt myself at work. I didn't whack off too much. It's not even the right hand, people. I'm not a switch hitter. Anyway, myspace.com/Jeff Meacham, NoDQ.com. For those of you that missed on the first show because it was edited out, check out Josh Tariff, my old buddy from the old XMV days and the IWC. Check out his new thing, which is myspace.com/theclick, C-L-I-K, theclick, C-L-I-K, music, myspace.com/theclick music. He's got a great new group going. He's going to be hanging out with me in the next few days, so I want to make sure I get a plug out for him. And check out YouTube for the show, check out MySpace for the show, check out NoDQ.com for the show, and go to the forums, NoDQforums.com. They got a great source of information for everything, mainstream wrestling, TNA wrestling, babes and celebs, yeah, and the Women of Wrestling page and everything. So check it out, and we'll see you on the next episode of Talk Wrestling.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
Welcome to the second episode of A Hardy Conversation. I am Sean Hardy.
And I am Chris Hardy.
And we have a lot of stuff to go over today. There's a lot of stuff that went on in the world of wrestling in the past week since we taped our last show. Superstars, not a whole lot to report on that. The best match on the card was Tommy Dreamer versus D.H. Smith. The Hart Dynasty getting a nice push, feuding with the main event wrestler on a really good, solid show. Other than that, like I said, not much to report on Superstars. SmackDown was honestly pretty dull for me this week.
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, we're leading up to Extreme Rules with Jeff Hardy and Edge. That was probably the best match of the night. Leading up to that, but
the one thing I didn't like about SmackDown is I thought it was kind of stupid to give away the CM Punk Umaga match for free on television when you're going to go ahead and have that match, granted a different stipulation, on the pay-per-view on Sunday. Why am I going to pay $40 to see a match that I just saw for free 2 days ago?
Correct.
Granted, that's not the reason everyone was buying the pay-per-view, but it's still one of your main matches on the card.
Now on to Extreme Rules. We had 5 World Championship changes. We have a new ECW champion, Tommy Dreamer.
Glad that you finally did it, Tommy. You're the only original left on the fucking brand. It's about time they got back to what brought ECW to the dance, and that's putting the strap on somebody that is actually true blue ECW.
We have Batista being WWE champion.
What the fuck?
Whatever.
The man can't even win a championship without getting injured.
Seriously. Kevin Nash syndrome. And then we have
Chris Jericho becoming a 9-time Intercontinental Champion. And just for the record, we actually got a notice from the last show when we were talking about, has Chris Jericho's combined title reigns added up to the length of the Honky Tonk Man's reign? The answer is no. Chris Jericho has only been champion combined over the 8 title reigns, not counting since he won it on Sunday, for a total of 308 days. Honky Tonk's reign was 454 days. Thank you to the LB Kid for submitting that information to us.
All right. And then we have the 2 World Heavyweight title changes, first by the charismatic Enigma, Jeff Hardy, and then by the asshole fuckface, CM Punk. It was a bitch move by CM Punk or CM Punk. I freaking didn't like the guy in the first place. I think he's overhyped, over whatever. I never liked him, and I will never, ever like CM Punk again for what he did to Jeff Hardy. I'm not done yet. Sorry, Sean, but I'm on a little tirade right now. I hate CM Punk being the World Heavyweight Champion. He should not even want Money in the Bank to begin with. It's over and done with. They should give it to Kofi Kingston. They should give it to someone else worthy of being World Heavyweight Championship. He is overhyped over everything. I mean, tag team, IC, World twice, ECW with a span of 2 years? Come on, there are better wrestlers than him to get World Heavyweight title matches. And even someone in the background agrees with me on that. So they should have kept the belt on Jeff for at least a month like last time. Not having to be a 5-minute champion and have CM Punk cash it in. It was a stupid, dumbass move. So Sean, what do you think about it?
I'm honestly not as pissed off about it as Chris here obviously is. I'm a fan of CM Punk. I do not feel that he's overrated. I feel that WWE has watered him down, and if you could see the stuff that he did before WWE, you would not feel that he is overrated. I think you're just a little pissed off because he beat your favorite wrestler in the world, and had he cashed it in on Edge, Randy Orton, someone like Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, you would not have given a flying fuck. CM Punk did the exact same thing that everybody always applauds Edge for doing. Edge is now known as the ultimate opportunist. CM Punk has cashed in his Money in the Bank now twice at the ultimate opportunity. It doesn't matter who you are. If you've got that briefcase, you've got to take the advantages that are given to you. And the best opportunity to do it is after a brutal match like Edge and Jeff had. Because you know the champion is dazed, injured, completely worn out, and it's the perfect opportunity to take that.
I didn't even like when CM Punk cashed in on Edge last year. I don't care because I'm an Edge head and I'm a Hardy fan. I don't like CM Punk to begin with. But anyway,
well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one.
All right. Now on to Monday Night Raw. Huge stuff happened on Raw. We have Vicky Guerrero finally getting the fuck out of WWE. We have Edge turning a little bit of face on Vicky for right now. He may turn face on SmackDown. We don't know about that. But right now, Edge kicked that fat-ass monkey to the curb.
And I've been reading on our good buddy's website, NoDQ.com, that the main reason Vicky is gone is because she wants to spend a little bit more time at home with her girls, doing what she should have been doing in the first place, raising her daughters. And you know what? I'm honestly not upset at her for that. Was her character great on TV? No. Did she do a good job getting people to hate her? Yes. She was a heel. So for all intents and purposes, she played the role that they hired her to play to a T. And the fact that you're as happy as you are that she's gone shows that she did her job properly.
Okay.
Umaga broke news that he was also released yesterday.
Okay. I'm done.
Jamal, your 3 minutes are up. Our thoughts exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Overall, I actually thought Raw was a little bit boring last night. They did absolutely nothing with the WWE Championship. Batista's legitimately injured, tore his tricep, is having surgery today to repair it, and they did absolutely nothing. Triple H made his return. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I am so sick and tired of seeing Triple H come back, be freaking He-Man, call into the powers of Grayskull with his sledgehammer.
He's Thor.
Raw, in a nutshell, sucked coming off the heels of a pay-per-view.
Yeah. I mean, they should have had a Battle Royal. They should have had, a number one contenders match, something for, Randy Orton to become champion or whatever. And then we have next Monday night, we have the 3-hour 3-for-all where the ECW, WWE, and World Heavyweight title match will be defended on Raw. So everyone's going to be on SmackDown. From SmackDown, ECW, and Raw will all be there next week. So it should be a very interesting show.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Raw is probably going to have a Battle Royal to determine the new WWE champion. I have a feeling that Tommy Dreamer will be defending his title in a rematch against Christian one-on-one. And I have a feeling that the SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship will be defended in a triple threat between CM Punk, Jeff Hardy, and Edge. Those are my predictions for the 3 title matches next week. We actually just received a question a couple moments ago from Lil Kitty. Wants to know our thoughts on why the women's championships, both the women's and Divas title, have not been defended yet. Personally, I think that Creative is starting to realize that they've fucked up in the fact that they've got too many non-wrestling women, eye candy, and not enough women that can actually give us good matchups. Over there for the women's championship on SmackDown, the only real wrestling women you have are Gail Kim, Melina. That's it. Over on Raw, you've got Beth Phoenix, who's being wasted. You've got Mickie James, who's being wasted. Those girls need to constantly be on a show where there is the women's championship. Then you've also got over on ECW Natalya, my favorite diva right now, and Katie Lee Burchill, both of whom are excellent wrestling women. They don't even have a championship that they can go for. They've just been resorted to arm candy for the Hart Dynasty and the Ripper of Paul Burchill, respectively. They need to make note of these things when they do drafts, in my opinion, and have all the eye candies on one show for the Divas Championship, and have all the real wrestling women on one show for the Women's Championship.
I agree with that a little bit. I mean, right now, after Raw, Marlies did defend her Women's Championship against Kelly Kelly for the second time in about 3 weeks against Kelly Kelly. Marlies won, and then we kind of have the Mickie James Marlies feud going again because Mickie James has beat Marlies twice and has never been gotten a title shot. And I want her to become the first woman to win the Divas Championship and the Women's Championship in history, not Undertaker's girlfriend, Michelle McCool. Because Mickie James is a better wrestler than Michelle McCool.
I agree with you. Personally, the person I would like to see do it is Gail Kim. Because Gail Kim would then be the first woman to be Divas Champion, Women's Champion, and TNA Knockouts Champion.
Correct.
I think that would be a bigger, reason for celebration, a better thing to try to push for than having The Undertaker's girlfriend, Michelle McCool, or Mickie James be the first one to do it.
Well, she's on SmackDown, Divas Championship is on Raw. So.
Also, the tag team titles have not been defended in a long time.
Correct.
Chris, me and you were talking about this last night, and I conceived the idea to do a tag team elimination chamber match. Know what you guys are thinking? Sounds insane. Okay, but you put 4 teams in the chambers instead of 4 individuals. Start off with 2 teams, just like a regular chamber match. You've got the Hart Dynasty, Tyson Kidd and D.H. Smith. You've got Priceless, Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes. Goldust and Hornswoggle. You've got Crime Time, the world's greatest tag team, and then the defending champions, the Colognes. And you've got quite possibly the most entertaining and athletic competition ever for a pay-per-view tag title match. It will make the titles a lot more prestigious in the long run also.
So on to some questions.
From YouTube, ZZ Girl asks, as Randy Orton being the top heel on Raw as of right now, do you guys see him losing the title anytime soon, and to whom? Unfortunately, this question was submitted before the pay-per-view where Randy did lose to Batista. So, ZZ Girl, I appreciate your question, but I think WWE kind of answered it for us, didn't they? Craptista, the Ultimate Warrior version 2.5, is the person that they saw fit to drop the belt to. Is that who I would have picked? No. I'd rather see John Cena holding it than Batista.
Or MVP.
And that says quite a bit.
Yeah.
From MySpace, Sandy Stars asks, what do you guys think about Kofi as U.S. champion and where that storyline is going. And Jessica asks a similar question on the future of Kofi as far as his storyline. And she wonders, at some point, do we believe that Matt Hardy will be United States champion? Sandy and Jessica, great questions. Where Kofi's storyline is going, I see three alternatives right now. Either MVP is going to end up turning back heel because he always worked better as a heel anyway, and he's going to defeat Kofi for the belt. Or, the way they're pushing William Regal, starting to, again, hopefully, they'll end up dropping it to him. And as far as Matt has been U.S. champion before. Matt Hardy, to me, seems to get the raw end of the stick. He seems to be the ultimate definition of transitional champion. Every time Matt Hardy has won a championship, not counting the tag titles, it has been for a very limited amount of time, and whoever takes the belt off of him has always had a lengthy run. Jack Swagger beat him for the ECW title, had a good run. Shelton Benjamin defeated Matt for the United States title, had a lengthy run. You know, do I think they'll give him the United States Championship again? I'd like to think so, but I think he needs to stop coming out with Edge's old trench coats, you know, go back to the real Matt Hardy that we all know and love, and then maybe they'll give him another United States Championship run.
Yeah, because when I saw Matt come out with Edge trench coat, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, I'm a big Matt Hardy fan, even though he's heel, but I mean, yeah, do something original, Matt. Don't use an old Edge gimmick and be, you know, another something star. Don't, you know, like rated X or rated Y or whatever you want to think you're doing right now.
The following Matt Hardy match has been rated V1.
Yeah, seriously.
That's about all the time we have for this week's show, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to give you a little quick plug. You can go to myspace.com/TheHardyGuys. That's TheHardyGuys. Add us as friends. You can always submit questions and comments to us there as well. If you'd like to go to my personal page, it's myspace.com/LBWA and Chris is myspace.com/ChrisHardyPhoto. You can also go to youtube.com/user/TheHardyGuys. It's where you can find all the videos for the shows that we've uploaded. First episode in this week's, with more to come on the way. Subscribe to us so you'll know when we update new videos. Add us as friends. You can submit questions to us there as well. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week on the third installment of A Hardy Conversation.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Welcome everyone to NoDQ&A here on NoDQ.com. I am Aaron Rift. Let's get right down to your questions. Do you think that we will see Rey Mysterio versus Sin Cara at WrestleMania 28? Basically, I think there's a lot of factors involved in this match happening. I'm sure WWE wants to do it. I'm sure the fans want to see it. But who knows what both men's situation are going to be heading into WrestleMania. Regarding Sin Cara, first of all, there's two different people playing the role. We had Mystico playing Sin Cara until about late July when he was suspended. And then last week, Hunico started playing the role of Sin Cara. So who knows if Sin Cara will even be around come WrestleMania 28. WWE right now seems to be trying to figure out where they want to go with the character and who's going to play the character. So that whole situation is up in the air with Sin Cara being at WrestleMania 28. As far as Rey Mysterio goes, he's dealing with injuries right now. If he's healthy, I'm almost positive we will see him at WrestleMania 28. But whether he ends up being in the ring with Sin Cara remains to be seen. But I'm sure, like I said before, everyone wants to see it. And, you know, it's a really good idea for WrestleMania 28 to have that match. Kind of like a mid-card dream match, so to speak. So hopefully it happens, but you never know. Next question. What are your thoughts on the character of Goldust? I love the character. I think Dustin Runnels has always been a great in-ring performer. His persona was never all that interesting just as himself. But then when WWE gave him this new character, he took the ball and he completely ran with it. I mean, he made that character so unique and so interesting. And I don't think anybody else could have done as good of a job as Dustin Runnels did with that character. And I especially love the whole artist formerly known as Goldust deal, you know, with him flashing Vader and doing all that weird kinky stuff with Luna Vachon. I think Lady Gaga might have seen some tapes of Dustin Runnels as Goldust. I don't know. It just seems that way to me, you know. Goldust was doing all that weird stuff in the 90s way before she was. So, yeah, really, really cool character and a big part of WWE history in my opinion. One of the best characters of the 90s for sure. Okay. Do you think there's any chance of WWE actually making the tag team division important with the rise of teams like Kofi and Evan, the Usos, McGillicuddy and Otunga, and possibly the Kings of Wrestling and Generation Me? Well, that's the big news going around that WWE is looking to reboost their tag team division and make it important again. I have no idea why they haven't been paying much attention to the tag team division. Like for SummerSlam, for instance, they could have had a tag team title match, but they didn't. They only announced 4 or 5 matches before the pay-per-view. Why couldn't they have done something with the tag team division leading up to SummerSlam? I have no idea. Doesn't make any sense. You know, Triple H is in charge now in storyline, but keep in mind that Vince McMahon is still running the show, so I have my doubts that we're really going to see a big change in the tag division anytime soon, but we'll see. I'd love to see Generation Me get a shot. I'd love to see the Kings of Wrestling get a shot. You know, it's all up to Vince McMahon ultimately, so we'll see what happens. With Cena versus Rock being the big match next year, do you think we could possibly see Orton versus Rock or CM Punk versus Rock on Raw a couple weeks before the match to help Raw get some rating boost they need and to show Rock that he can still wrestle, or to show that Rock can still wrestle? Why is this cat doing a run-in in my video? I do not know. Regarding Rock, I do not think we will see him compete prior to WrestleMania 28. That's what makes the whole thing special, is his first match back being at WrestleMania 28 against John Cena. If he appears before that, then what are we paying for? It kind of takes away from that whole aura of Rock. You know, what's he going to be like in the ring? Will he show ring rust or whatever? I think that's best being left for WrestleMania 28, in my opinion. So, and I do not think it will happen before WrestleMania 28. I'm almost positive on that. Okay, last question for today. What was your favorite Money in the Bank cash-in moment? The one that really holds a place in my heart was the very first one. I think nothing can really top that. I was at a sports bar for New Year's Resolution 2006, and the place just came unglued when Edge came out and cashed in Money in the Bank. And that was really a star-making moment. That really put Edge on the map, and that whole deal with Lita, the live sex celebration, like, that really launched his career as a main eventer, and I think that was still my all-time favorite Money in the Bank moment. I also like the one in 2008 when CM Punk cashed it in and Jerry Lawler was like, Punk wins, and all that stuff. It was awesome. And that also helped CM Punk, but not to the... I don't think anybody really became such a big star after cashing in Money in the Bank like Edge did in that first encounter with John Cena. So there you go. All right, that about does it for NoDQ&A here on NoDQ.com. If you would like to submit questions, go to formspring.me/AaronRift. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. And hopefully my cat will not run in next time. But whatever happens, it happens. So we'll see you next time for NoDQ&A.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of the Renegade of Wrestling. I am your host, JJ Williams, here to bring you my thoughts and opinions on this week in wrestling. First off, big news coming out of Monday Night Raw last week was the initiation of the new Nexus members at the hands of CM Punk and the rest of the Nexus. You had the lashings of Husky Harris. You had the beatdown at the hands of the Big Show for David Otunga. You had the annihilation of Michael McGillicuddy by the rest of the Nexus members. And then it came down to Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel, who did not want to beat each other with kendo sticks threw them down and walked off. Apparently they had other plans, which we did find out come Friday Night SmackDown. They decided to realign with Wade Barrett to form what for now is being called Nexus B or Nexus Blue. We'll find out probably on Friday what their official name is going to be. But you've got the contingent of CM Punk, Michael McGillicuddy, Husky Harris, and David Otunga now over on Raw. And you've got Wade Barrett, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, and Big Zeke, Ezekiel Jackson, over on SmackDown. Now, in some people's opinions, Big Zeke being put as a member of the group may or may not be the best thing for him. Right now, considering that he's been out of action for so long, and they haven't really known what to do with him, my opinion is putting him in this new Nexus contingent is a very good thing, because at least they've got something for Big Zeke to do at this point in time. I've been comparing Big Zeke to Ahmed Johnson for a while, even though a lot of people tell me that Ahmed Johnson was a lot clumsier, was a lot more botchy, if you will, in his moves, always hurting people. But in my opinion, Big Zeke has the same look, almost everything that Ahmed had, except Big Zeke is better. Over in TNA, all the titles apparently changed hands at Genesis, with the exception of the Divas titles, the Knockouts titles. Madison kept her belt over Mickie James, and the Knockouts tag team titles weren't even defended on the pay-per-view. But once they got defended on Impact this past week, Angelina and Winter, still your Knockout champions. But you've got Mr. Anderson, now is your new TNA World Champion. You've got Kazarian as the X Division Champion, Abyss is the TV Champion, and Beer Money for what seems like their 100th tag team title run as the tag team champions. Immortal is definitely coming up over in TNA. My question is, who's going to be able to stop them? We found out on Thursday that there is a new They that's going to be coming on February 3rd. They are coming for Immortal. There's a lot of speculation that the Main Event Mafia is going to return. But what for? I mean, granted, they need a new stable to feud with Immortal. But my thought process is to get together a bunch of the rogues that are still lingering around TNA or that have since been released from TNA and get them back together to help beat down Immortal. Get your guys like Samoa Joe. Rehire Christopher Daniels. Bring in the Motor City Machine Guns, since they just lost the straps to Beer Money. And get yourself a nice little stable of tried and true TNA guys to battle these guys. Don't bring back the Main Event Mafia. Maybe throw a guy like Kurt in there to lead them, because you've got Jarrett on the other side. But do we really need Scott Steiner, Booker T, Kevin Nash, all these old guys back in TNA again? I really don't think so. Over on SmackDown, aside from the Nexus, not really much going on, but we did find out on Monday Night Raw, Shawn Michaels, the first inductee in the class of 2011 WWE Hall of Fame. Way to go, Shawn. Ever since the screw job, I have not been the biggest Shawn Michaels fan in the world, but you know what? All BS aside, Shawn Michaels deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. The fact that he's a first ballot contender, I think, says a lot about his work ethic. Some people say it's too soon, and for those people that say that Shawn going in is too soon, I've got two words for you. Eddie Guerrero. No disrespect to the deceased. Viva la raza, I love you, Eddie, but the dude got inducted 5 months after he died. That was a little bit too soon. And not only did he get inducted 5 months after he died, they turned it into a storyline. Because Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble. Rey Mysterio won the title at WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio was wearing different colored Eddie Guerrero armbands to accessorize with his tights. they turned his death into a gimmick. You want to talk about too soon? Eddie Guerrero, once again, no respect to the dead, I think got inducted just a little bit too soon. Not that he didn't deserve it, but they could have maybe waited a couple years till like WrestleMania 25, I think it was, when WrestleMania came to the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Since Eddie was from El Paso anyways, could have maybe waited till that. Something the SoCal people here have on TV to watch. I don't know how many of you watching my show are from SoCal. NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Really good promotion. The NWA is trying to get back on TV, get back into the swing of things to where they can compete with WWE and TNA. So far, they're off to a really good start. Their champion, the Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, really good heel champion, turning away all comers so far. 2 weeks from now, he gets a shot at Joey Ryan, is going to be taking him on for the NWA title. Joey Ryan, some of you guys on the East Coast may know from Ring of Honor. We know him out here from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and other small federations. You guys need to check this show out. If you guys can't get KDOC on your TV, look it up online. Go to Google or whatever. Look up NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. You can watch the episodes online. I highly recommend that you guys start taking a look at this. There's a lot of young up-and-coming talent coming out of the SoCal indie scene that are finally getting exposure on television. It's a really good thing. Big news. The last thing I'm going to talk about. Big news today came out over the internet, and that is that this year's Royal Rumble match is going to have not 20 like the first ever Royal Rumble did, not 30 like has been in it every year since, but 40 entrants are going to be in the Royal Rumble. 40. I did a little bit of research. I went on to WWE.com. I looked at their superstar profiles. I went through all the male superstars. I didn't count the women because there's only been 2 in WWE history that have been in the Rumble, Chyna and Beth Phoenix last year. Didn't count the women, but there's 52 or 53 male wrestlers currently not booked in a match at the Rumble. What are you going to do with the other 13 guys? Are you going to find undercard matches for them? Granted, some of them are still out on the injury list, like Evan Bourne. Triple H hasn't been seen really since Sheamus attacked him. Not really sure if he's cleared to come back yet or not. John Cena is currently on the shelf with his injured hip. So there's a couple guys you can automatically erase from that. But the Rumble's always been about surprises, too. You know, we had a number of surprise entrants over the years, from Mr. Perfect returning to Haku made his surprise return one year in the Rumble when he was still the WCW Hardcore Champion. There's been a lot of surprises in the Rumble, and by having 40 guys in the Rumble, one, I think it takes away from tradition, because the Rumble has primarily always been a 30-man affair. But where's the room for surprises if you're going to pretty much put in everyone that isn't booked on the undercard? You've only got 2 matches announced right now, Edge versus Dolph Ziggler and Miz versus Orton, which, as I said, leaves about 52 to 53 male superstars. Once you wither out the injured, okay, maybe you get down to about 45 superstars. Unless you put those guys in matches on the undercard, you're still leaving people out of the Royal Rumble. I understand your rosters have been beefed up so much lately that you need to perhaps beef up the Rumble to find a place for everybody, but everybody doesn't need the payday. You need to go back to 30, reevaluate this in my opinion, go back down to 30, because there's really no room for 40 guys in the Rumble. How many people are going to get in there at a time? In the past, we've had anywhere from 10, 12 people in the ring at once. Could you imagine 40 people? Granted, there's never been 30 in the ring at once, unless it's been a standard battle royal. But you're going to have a lot quicker eliminations to be able to get these extra 10 guys in there. And 90-second intervals. This match is going to go on for a while. You're easily looking at an hour-long Rumble with 90-second intervals. Plus the overtime. Once the last person has been introduced, there's still usually about a good 5 to 10 minutes almost to wither down to the final 4, final 3, final 2, final 1. I don't know what their logic is in all this. Maybe as the participants start to get announced in the coming weeks, we'll start to see a little bit of a grander plan that WWE has in store. Till next week, I'm the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams, and I'll see you then.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
what's up? It's me, Statboy, and this rant will be Statboy approved. We're at episode 2. Sweet, 2 episodes in. I like it. Let's get the pleasantries out of the way. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the likes, dislikes, all that good stuff. A lot of good comments, a lot of good things to talk about. Let's just run right into it. 4 of you have TNA-based rants. Mick0032 talking about TNA being WCW version 2.0. Quick answer, yes. Timp83, Eric Young, why he's going crazy and all this stuff. JTK316 wants me to talk about Samoa Joe, possibly going to WWE. And Great Muda Forever, who thinks behind me is the door to Narnia, which it's not, but I did laugh at that comment. Sting's Joker character. So, this is going to be fun. As far as the TNA being WCW version 2.0, yes. We all know right now you're either WWE, TNA, or Indies. So if you're not Indies, you know, you go where the action is, and apparently you go where the money is. And with Bischoff there, who knows how much money he's bringing in. And like I say, you know, WCW was where all the talent went, so all the old talent, all the old WWE talent is going to TNA. You know, as far as it being version 2.0, I can see that, because towards the end of WCW, they didn't know where to go with a lot of people, and it was just digging, and digging. Look at Hogan and Bischoff, for goodness sakes. I mean, Hogan's there, but he's not wrestling. Reason, his back. But the fans want him to do it. Do we really want to see Hogan and Sting again one more time? Not really. We know that Hogan can't go. Sting wants to go. Flair is there, rehashing the old Flair-Sting. Epic feud, by the way. That was one of the best feuds in WCW. You know, they got to bring back the six-sided ring. Because the six-sided ring was cool when I first saw it. I loved it, you know. When I saw the Canadian Destroyer for the first time, I wanted to put my own neck in a neck brace because it looked like neck on head, ground, hurt, pain, whatever. As far as Eric Young, where they're going with him, this whole I'm going after TV stars thing, it's funny. It's funny, you know. Can I get somebody better than Scott Baio, though? I mean, hasn't Scott Baio done enough for the business? Has he done anything for the business before? I mean, he's on the golf course, you know, smoking a cigar, playing golf. Here comes Eric Young out of a tree, and he pins him on the golf course. That's funny. I liked it. I laughed. But go back in the ring, Eric. In fact, let's reform Team Canada. Well, he was part of Team Canada, I believe. We gotta find where Petey is. We gotta bring him out of the Indies and back into TNA and put him back with Team Canada, because I actually did like Team Canada. With Samoa Joe, if he does go to the WWE, more power to him. What I want to see them do would probably be to bring back the Straight Edge Society would be good. Put him in there. And, no wait, not the Straight Edge Society. I want to see him just jump ship and be this unstoppable monster. He doesn't need to talk like he did when he first came into TNA. He just needs to go through everybody, choke them out, break their arm, break their leg, break their face, snap their neck, whatever, until they scream, I can't go on. Put the belt on him, and let him keep going. I mean, with this Bound for Glory thing, he's at the bottom of the list with minus 10 points. That's a slap in the face. Samoa Joe is a monster. He's a big guy. He'll sit on you for your lunch money. Oh wait, that was me in high school. Never mind. You know, he'll crush you to pieces. So, you know, that's that. As far as Sting's Joker character, very funny, very good. It fits him perfectly. It makes me want to watch The Dark Knight, which I still haven't done yet. There's a shocker. Dark Knight's been out for 3 years and I still haven't seen it yet. So eventually, maybe I'll watch it after this episode. I don't know. In fact, put some the first person that says you haven't watched The Dark Knight or something like that, I'll give you a shout out, and who knows from there. Yes, it's a shocker. I have not seen The Dark Knight. You guys should see what's going on behind the scenes here. I'm getting dirty looks from everybody. Okay, next up, WWE anime fans rant on the talent team and how much they suck. Okay, I need a little more information on this one. Do you want the talent that brings people in? Do you want the creative people that writes the storylines? Get back on me on this one. This is a good topic, but I just need a little more into it. The only thing I know about the creative team is like Triple H is part of it, Stephanie's part of it, and he brought in Sin Cara. So, and look where that's going. So see, I don't know much about that. I'm really sorry. Give me a little more info on that, and I will gladly rant on that. Mad Gary 222, the Kevin Nash Triple H storyline. You left out CM Punk. Because this whole thing that happened on Raw last week with Kevin Nash is my friend, but I want to know why he lied. Okay, I don't lie very well, but I've done it to my friends, but I'm not going to call them out on national television and say, hey, what are you lying to me for? You know, you don't do that. And then you ask about Stephanie. I don't know about Stephanie, if she's going to show up at the pay-per-view or not. She might. If she does, more power. Maybe she'll reveal that she sent the text. Who knows? The thing with Trips and CM Punk now, if you didn't see SmackDown, you gotta see SmackDown because the confrontation, the contract signing was epic. You know, except CM Punk is crossing the line, and it's good for the ratings, it's good for the show. But I don't think you should cross over into Triple H's personal life with what he does with Stephanie in the bedroom. That's a little too personal. He's got 3 kids. You know, I'm talking about the panties line, okay? I mean, come on, Punk. That's a little too far. But it makes people laugh. It makes people go, oh! You know, thumbs up and everything. And, you know, more power to that. Do I want to see this storyline end? No. Keep it going. There's rumor to have I've heard a rumor somewhere at Survivor Series it's going to be Team Triple H versus Team Punk. If that goes, then maybe by the end of the year the storyline will be over. But as long as Punk has a live mic in his hand, pipe bomb, look out, it's going to go kablamo, and everybody's going to just, oh! And if Punk gets the title back, let's stop the controversy. Let him hold it till Mania. Give him a good run with the belt. Then the stocks will go up because the stocks are down. Way down. They actually went below 9. I actually saw that one. On to money. Lacey 555 is asking about salaries for sports stars. How much money they make. I actually did look up an old stat for wrestling. Back in the early 90s, Triple H made the most money at $2 million a year. Cena only made like $1.2 million. Everybody else made below $1 million a year. And then all their perks were like hotel rooms, transportation. Didn't catch anything about meals. As far as the other salaries, I mean, look at A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez of the Yankees. He signed a $250 million deal. And that's a 10-year deal, so he's got some money. Jared Weaver just did a 5-year, $85 million contract extension. And Jared, good job in yesterday's game against the Twins. Good job there. Keep it going. We want to get the Angels into the playoffs. Michael Vick signed a 6-year, $100 million deal, but that begs the question, you know, you get out of jail, and then you come back to football, and you're rewarded with $100 million. They should have cut his salary in half, and then the other half should have gone to the national debt. In fact, a lot of these sports stars who go around in their Bentleys and their BMWs and their $1 million homes and their Cohiba cigars in the middle of the pool and the tennis courts and the barbecues and the living room that nobody wants to sit in. They have these big old fancy couches. If you've ever seen MTV Cribs, which isn't on anymore, but it should be. They got all these fancy stuff, and I look at it and it's like, I don't want to sit on that couch. It looks too good. I don't want to go in your backyard and drive your car. Your car looks too good to drive. If you put a dent on it, you end up spending $50,000 on a car. My good buddy Chris G from Facebook wants me to talk about comedic influences. The only one I really have is Robin Williams, because you never know what he's going to do. You never know what he's going to say. He's got this insanity inside his head. He also wants me to talk about where comedy's going. Doesn't need to go anywhere. Comedy is comedy. They tell a joke, you laugh. They tell a joke, you don't laugh. The Situation. Look that one up. He bombed on his... Yeah, doing this situation? Yeah, right. Come on. Show your six-pack. Ugh. The Snooki sex tape might come out, too. I won't buy that. Hell no. I also like Cat Williams. He's very funny. I can pretty much do the poor little Tink Tink routine and the tiger in a zoo in San Francisco. Look those up on YouTube where you're watching this channel. Hey. That's pretty much all I can think of right now. So, like I said, keep the comments coming. Try and be a little more detailed on the comments, like I said with anime fans, so that way I have a little more info as to what to rant about. Watch everybody on the channels. Facebook me. I'm on Facebook. I'm going to be on Skype occasionally. If you want to talk to me on Skype, I'll bring up my ID. After the Bell's coming up. Renegade's coming up. Dad's is coming up. There are 2 good interviews that have just been put up. One with Jarek Matthews and the other with Nick Madrid. They are very good interviews. And when you see Nick Madrid, you can't miss his smile. He's got one of these big old smiles. In fact, I approve those interviews. Those were 2 of the best interviews I saw. So let's make the views skyrocket. In fact, the combined views of those 2 interviews and mine should easily break 1250. That's the goal. The 2 interviews, like maybe 400 to 500 each, plus 500 for me, 1200, no problem. As far as episode 2, we're done, and Statboy is out.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of Dad's Own Wrestling. I am your co-host, JJ Williams, aka the Renegade of Wrestling.
Jeff Meacham, host of Talk Wrestling and property of NoDQ.com. I didn't do this last show, and Aaron got mad at me for not displaying the fact that I actually work for him. I was just doing your show for free, our show for free.
Yes.
Because I'm actually plugging Renegade of Wrestling while doing this show. I'll also be plugging Renegade on Talk Wrestling when I can, when the other Aaron doesn't.
When the higher-ups don't bark.
When the higher-ups don't bark at me. Thank you very much. Anyway.
Aaron, we're not trying to steal him from you here. Good friends for many years. You know, so...
Almost as long as I've known you, actually, Rick.
Yeah.
When we started doing XMV, about 6 months later, I met this guy, so, you know.
He's just on loan. We've kind of been talking about doing the show together for years. Bob's Big Boy, after SummerSlam, was kind of like my official debut.
The pitch, if you
interacting
will.
with him.
Yes.
And it's just kind of spawned off since then, so...
But we don't talk about Bob anymore.
Yeah. I apologize, Aaron, not stealing him. NoDQ.com, your only source for wrestling news and rumors.
That's right. The only.
Anyways.
There was great TNA coverage of the show that we talked about on the first show. So,
yes.
But we're going to switch gears now.
Get into the State of the WWE address, if you will.
There's The Miz and there's everything else. Let's move on. No.
Just like there's a lots of pros and cons about TNA.
Yes,
there really are.
We did. That's true.
I know you don't usually get a lot into TNA detail on your normal show, Jeff.
I don't, and the reason for that is, you know, people seem to have the impression that Aaron and I despise TNA and we don't cover TNA properly and blah blah blah.
That's just
well, maybe he does, but you know, Aaron didn't like a lot of things. I still do my show anyway. So, the truth is, TNA doesn't do enough. Oh my God, stuff.
This is very true, and that's where
to make us jump out of our seats.
That's where the state of WWE.
WWE will go from mediocre with The Miz thrown in as champion, but still having mediocre for 3 weeks, and then the first Raw this year, they'll jump out of the gate with a Falls Count Anywhere match. Holy crap! And even with A-Ride's involvement, yes, Miz had to cheat to win. He's a heel. Where did it? We had a whole hour discussion about this at the house earlier.
Yeah. Before taping.
Yeah, before taping, we did.
So we're going to try not to get into that too much.
We're trying to get too much because we go an hour, we'll be like doing 5 shows at once here.
Yeah.
Flair did it. Hollywood Hogan did it. You know, all the
Triple H and Evolution.
Triple H and Evolution. Triple H in the game.
Get over Miz using Alex Riley to help him win.
And the bottom line is,
if you're a good heel, you've got an insurance plan. Miz is named Alex Riley. That's bottom line.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that match itself, Morrison neutralized the plan halfway through the match. He put
more than halfway. It was like a quarter of the way.
Yeah, listen to that. Yeah, he sent Riley's teeth to the back before Riley got there.
This is very true.
Boom!
Which talking about Miz is good because the first thing that we wanted to discuss about were the champions, and I think we haven't spent enough time on the Miz.
Right.
I'm sure in future shows, if they haven't already grasped from you on Talk Wrestling how big of a Miz fan you are, you'll definitely grasp from me. I'm a huge Miz fan too.
I am a misfit and proud of it. Card carrying.
Yes, not misfits in action like the horrible WCW. No, we are true misfits. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was a misfit when he was jobbing in UPW to Diamond Dallas Page.
This is very true.
Okay.
This is very true.
I like.
We thought he should have won Tough Enough. Okay.
Keep
in mind, the runner-up is who you still know.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel Pewter, of course. But, you know, nobody remembers that because he went to MMA and then he sucked.
The way I remember Pewter is I think of Lois Griffin's pre-married name, Pewter Schmidt.
Pewter
Family
Schmidt.
Guy?
Very good, yes.
So he's Daniel Peter Schmidt.
There you go. Well, in that case, he's a cartoon character of himself, and he is where he belongs.
Exactly.
So, all right.
But, aside from The Miz, let's get into the
Yes.
World Heavyweight Champion right now,
Edge. I was so happy when this happened at TLC. Long overdue. Edge has been without a title since June of '09.
Yeah.
The same title, actually.
Edge should have beaten Jericho at WrestleMania, personally. What was the point of his storied comeback in the Rumble, go to WrestleMania, to fall?
And then right after that,
Pointless.
his whole
Then he turned heel.
comeback babyface momentum gets negated when he spears Orton on Raw.
Yeah.
Like,
Then he turns heel, and now he's back face again. But now he's kind of a tweener.
which is fine because the tweener Edge is attacking the Raw GM's computer, which is the best thing to ever happen ever. And you heard the GM mechanically bitch at Cole for do something, Cole. I was like, that was funny and oh my god.
I kind of sensed that Edge was going to win when him and Christian reunited.
Oh yeah, for sure. He deserved that, dude. I wanted to go give that slammy to him personally because I hate the GM gimmick at this point. I'd always hated Michael Cole. Michael Cole and I go back 13 years of dislike, okay?
Damn you, Cole.
And you know what? I know Michael doesn't like me because he doesn't respond.
Michael Cole, you're the reason this man has no hair.
I have a 2-year-old son, and I watch Michael Cole. Instant baldness, right there.
Aside from
I'm gonna
Edge,
get up and get Cole. Anyway,
from Edge, let's move to the United States champion, Daniel Bryan.
another one I'm happy with. I've been
Yes.
happy with this since it happened. We like The Miz, but Bryan, I refuse to call him Daniel Bryan. I don't
Me
care.
too. Bryan
Danielson, for those of you in WWE that can't figure out that we still know him by his real name.
Like he said in that promo when he got eliminated from NXT. I've been looking online, and all I see of Daniel Bryan is this guy from NXT, but I saw this one guy named Bryan Danielson, and he used to kick some ass.
Yeah, and the problem is when they brought him back, he was still Daniel Bryan. And it's like when he came out at SummerSlam, I was waiting for him to say Bryan Danielson. They went Daniel Bryan. I went, oh.
Really, they failed. They had a huge corner turn there for Bryan to go back to being himself.
Yeah. Because Daniel Bryan is a great U.S. champion.
He's the American Dragon.
He's the American Dragon, but he comes out smiling, accompanied by the Bella Twins. Now, lucky bastard, by the way. But Bryan Danielson would come out, give a little smile to the crowd, take off the robe. When the bell rang, it was on like Donkey Kong. Over. Serious. 2 minutes to cow mutilation right there. It was over.
Which, seriously, Bryan, if you see this, bring it back in me.
Please bring it back.
I want to see the cattle mutilation at WrestleMania.
Do it on Cole, please. Please do it on
That's
Michael
what you
Cole.
should have done in the first place. Instead of choking him out with his tie,
You should have put it in
should've
cattle
done
mutilation.
mutilation.
Yes. Just grab my wrist and start just... And then put the cattle mutilation on it. That should have been it right there. Cole would have been finished. Screw Dustin Roberts. He's cannon fodder. Michael Cole was the target. Should have been.
Kofi Kingston, the new Intercontinental Champion.
As of... Was it last week?
Yeah.
Last week. Awesome. I love Kofi. I don't like that Dolph lost the Intercontinental title, but I do like he's #1 contender of the world title.
Yes.
Because I've liked Dolph. He's not one of those guys where he was in the same category as Miz, where very few liked him in my circle, but like everybody at your house liked him. Everybody loves Dolph at your house. And
honestly, I kind of first noticed Dolph when he was Kerwin White's bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all forget that was him, huh?
Yeah, and then
I noticed him then.
And then of course the Spirit Squad.
And then there was the Spirit Squad with Nikki! Whatever.
But the problem with the Spirit Squad is only Kenny got the huge rub off of that, and he went on single star.
But anybody that's watched the industry could tell that Nikki and Kenny were the two with the most talent.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny got the immediate push because he was the son of a referee.
Exactly. That's right.
Nikki got sent back to OVW and FCW for repackaging,
In the crate,
which then became Dolph Ziggler.
Right. And when he came back from FCW as Dolph Ziggler with the handshake, I was going, this is hokey. This is stupid.
But it caught on and it made people notice him.
It did. And then he wrestled. And it was like, whoa, I forgot he could do this.
The one thing that I really liked about the whole handshake gimmick when he started it is that you read all around about how when you're a rookie and you first come into a locker room, you're supposed to introduce yourself to all the guys backstage. It's respect.
To this
The
day.
fact that they brought that tradition to television, I marked out for that huge.
Right.
I haven't been a fan here as long as you, and I know we got into that a little bit in the first episode, but to see a tradition like that brought to the forefront, huge.
Yeah. To this day, I'll walk into any locker room. I've been involved in the performance side of the business now for over 3.5 years.
Heaven forbid that video.
Yeah, God, never again. I walk into a locker room. I don't care if it's Adam Pearce or if it's,
Brandon
Parker, or if it's GQ Money's student.
Yeah.
I'll shake his hand. You know why?
Exactly.
Because they're in love with me.
Exactly.
I'm this bitty little, at the time, promoter guy. Now I'm
right.
a manager or whatever you want to call me now. I walk in, I show respect. That's the way it is. And Dolph did that, and it got him noticed. And from there, he stepped into the ring, and the song was the song was "I Am Perfection." He had Kurt's haircut. He was Mr. Perfect reincarnated.
Yeah.
The bad part was bringing Vicky in, but
You know what? All bull aside, I love Vicky Guerrero. I love Vicky Guerrero. We're supposed to hate her inside the ring, but after personally getting to talk to her one-on-one like I did back at SummerSlam, I can't hate her anymore.
That's not what you said in rehearsal.
I really can't.
You're going against rehearsal too. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I knew that you would probably balk at this a little bit, so I had to keep it from your side. I love Vicky.
Anyway.
You're a cougar, Vicky. Tag team titles. Santino and Kozlov just completely killed the tag division, in my opinion. You had a strong team. Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel.
Oh, okay, yeah. Even before that. Yeah.
Prior to that, you had the Heart.
Well, prior to that was Otunga and Cena for a cup of coffee.
I don't count
that was stupid. But before that was the Hearts. Before that was, Cody and Drew.
Yeah.
Before that was the Hearts.
So
the Hearts were the last great tag team to hold the titles, and
I'd argue you on Cody and Drew. Even though they were kind of thrown together at the last minute, I love Drew McIntyre.
I love them both. They were, but
for future world champion. You heard it here first.
Are they trying to babyface with whole Kelly face? I'm seeing that. That's scaring me. Anyway, I like them, but I love the Hearts. I've always loved the Hart family.
Me too.
So the last great tag team, in my opinion, to hold the title, the division should have been built around them from the get-go.
Yeah.
They blew that. At the beginning of this year, like, oh, here's your token championship. It's like,
well, the WWE has not focused on the tag team division since the glory days of the Hardys, Edge and Christian, the Acolytes, the Deadlies,
right?
Since all that, you've had solid teams come through, and they get overlooked. Prime time. One of the only teams that I can remember to become #1 contenders and never get a title.
Prime time. You know what? I think they finally did on a random episode.
Are a strong team.
Okay, the Usos beat the tag champions a week and a half ago, whatever it was, and then Santino and Tamina double Cobra jobbed them. Like that's just over right there.
Yeah.
That's instant kill. And then you get the Divas division, which is picking up.
Yes, Natalya is finally the Divas champion.
As of Survivor.
She should have been the first ever Divas champion, but
Michelle McCool.
A certain toothpick who's blowing the Undertaker got that privilege.
I wasn't gonna say I'm trying to be PC, but okay, that works.
This is a non-PG show, Jeff.
No, PC, not PG.
Oh, okay.
PC. I didn't say P. Trust me.
Okay.
Last thing I am is P fucking G. Okay. Anyway, then you have.
But it's about time she finally got her title.
Exactly. Then you have Gail working again finally. You have Melina being pushed again.
What is the deal with them portraying Gail as an Asian prostitute? I'm just curious about that.
I don't know, but the photo shoot on WWE.com is hot. So
hey, don't get me wrong.
It.
I'll take hot pictures of divas any day of the week, but the way they've been dressing her on TV isn't Gail Kim.
Maybe they'll fix it in the coming weeks.
It's $2 Asian whore. We love you long time. That's what I'm waiting for her to say. I'm waiting for her to come out, cut a promo, and say we love you long time.
We got Castillo's big spot.
Yeah,
at least 5. TNA should worth 10, but WWE got her back. Dixie.
Beth.
Failure. Beth is back on doing her thing, and oh my God, they signed Kong.
The mediocre code, because we know WWE's going to screw it up.
If they screw it up, I will rape Vince of his balls. I will rip them off and feed them to him forcibly. I promise I will. Because Kong is the best thing that's going to happen in this division if they do it right.
Yeah. I'm curious right now to see Tamina actually in the ring challenging for the strap. She's been arm candy, first for the Usos, now for Santino.
Right.
Tamina and Natalya have had their feud.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them step the game up and make it for the title.
That'd be cool.
We'll see what happens. What would you like to see in the WWE in the next 3 months, Joe? We had a lot more we were going to talk about, but time's ticking.
YouTube limits are
I see you, cameraman. I see you, cameraman. We can see you, cameraman.
That's right. You'll kick me down back there. All right.
What do you want to see in the next 3 months?
I want to see more improvement. I want to see more of the way they've been trending. I want to see The Miz be champion till at least through Chamber, if not till Mania. Hell.
Yeah.
I want to see Daniel Bryan be the U.S. champion for indefinite. let him retire with the belt for all I care. He's a great.
I wouldn't
US
say
champion.
that part because then he'll never get a world title. But at least for the time being, I'd like to see Daniel Bryan have an RVD-esque title reign.
Have him retire the belt, not retire with the. Have him
there you go.
Whatever.
You know,
let a decent tag team win the belts, please. Get it off the Cobra Swingers,
and
please.
keep pushing this young talent like you're doing. You're finally hearing what our fans want and bringing talent to the next level.
Yes.
Started with Sheamus, now it's Miz. You've got Morrison getting title shots. You've got Dolph Ziggler's the #1 contender. Bring up the new talent. Your current product is stale. Stop banking on guys that are always getting injured.
Those 11 guys they put on WWE.com, the 11 to watch and 11, push them!
Please.
Okay.
For right now, I'm the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams.
I'm Mr. TW, Jeff Meacham.
We'll see you next time.